HPHA members, not just board members. So you're very welcome to join a committee. And in fact, we encourage all HPHA members to join a committee, and it'll really help us out. Some of you participated in our recent election, and thank you very much to everyone who voted. We have our results right here. These are our new either officers or members. So we have a new president-elect, Brian Talisian. We have a new secretary, Alexis Charpentier, who is, I believe, joining us on Zoom today. So they're both already have been board members who are moving into officer positions or different officer positions. And we have two new at-large directors, Lana Kaopua and Anika Martin. And they're here today. So if you give us a wave, Lana up here and Anika in the back. I wanted to tell you a little bit about them. So Dr. Lana Kaopua is a retired UH Manoa professor with a specialization in health, who is very active in global and local communities. At the global level, she convenes the Social Work and Health Inequalities Network. At the local community level, she is active with the Wisdom of Kalaupapa Project and the Sierra Club's efforts to support the Kapukaki or Red Hill community efforts for fresh water and sensitive, timely health and mental health care. Anika Martin is the Ryan White Administrative Manager for Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center. She is also a volunteer for HEP Free Hawaii, leading their social media campaigns. Anika holds an MPH in Public Health Promotion from Northern Arizona University. Her areas of interest include serving Indigenous tribal nations, students who identify as a sexual or gender minority, and people living with HIV. Welcome to them. So this is your 2023 Board of Directors. We do have an open treasurer seat, but that can be taken care of by an appointment from within the board, so that should not be an issue. And our ex officio directors remain the same. Moving on to membership. Our total membership count is 455, with a number of new members in 2022. Just to give you a little reminder of our membership rates in case you wanted to think about lifetime membership or encourage any of your colleagues to join. These are our membership levels. And we also like to acknowledge our lifetime members during our annual meetings. So this is our list of 80 lifetime members, with 4 new members joining this year. I wanted to also, of the 4 members, acknowledge the late Dr. Stefan Keller, who's joining this list posthumously. He was one of my advisors at UH Manoa and certainly influenced and taught a certain cohort of MPH students. So glad to see him on this list. We have organizational members also, which is an important way of sustaining the organization. There's different levels and different member benefits. We're always appreciative of any inquiries or leads, referrals you can give us for potential organizational members. This is our current list. We have 3 levels: Maile, Hibiscus, and Plumeria. Many, as you all notice, are the same as our event sponsors, and we really truly appreciate their support throughout the year. I'd like to quickly do some highlights from our committees and the work that they've done in the past year. So the first one is our new HPHA Student Fellows Program, which started towards the end of 2021. So we have our first 2 students. Last semester, spring 2022, we had Karen Perez, who presented in our National Public Health Week event. If you were a part of that, you would have seen her there. And today in this semester, we have Shui Waku, who actually could maybe give us a little wave from the audience. She's sitting here and will be part of our panel. She's pursuing her master's degree in public health. No annual report would be complete without some finances, and I just wanted to reassure you, providing a report on the last 12 months from our treasurer from 2022, Brian Talisian, that we are doing well. We've had roughly the same budget for the last few years and have no major changes going forward. We are funding the student fellowship now and fundraising specifically for that, but our annual budget is right around what our bank balance is, in the mid 40,000. And by the way, all of this information and more will be posted on our website so that you can have a more comprehensive written report that way. One of our busiest programs, and one that I would encourage you to join if you can, is our Committee on Legislative and Government Relations. And I wanted to thank Dr. Claire Ng, who's here, and also Dr. Leocadia Conlon, who will be continuing to chair the committee. If you guys could give a little wave. We provide letters of support for different national and local initiatives, and we also provide testimony in the state legislative session. And what we have been doing is prioritizing the areas that our members are leading. And so if you can join the committee and bring those issues forward, or you can communicate with us directly to make sure that we weigh in as well. That's how we get the work done together in our legislative work. And I also just wanted to put this slide up because our board member, Tanaya Jackman, is our official representative to the American Public Health Association. And she does a lot of work connecting us, and as our liaison with the affiliate representative to the governing council of HPHA, that keeps us in touch with national. So thank you to Tanaya for all that work. And she was at the registration table where you probably saw her. So that is it for my report. Thank you again for being here. Next, we will have a message from our national president. Thanks, everyone.
Welcome to the Hawaii Public Health Association's annual meeting. I'm Chris Chang-Azulkit, and I'm president of the American Public Health Association, APHA. Many thanks to Holly Kessler, Gerald Oda, and the board, and all of you members of the Hawaii Public Health Association for convening this really important and timely program called Culture Matters, exploring the intersection of workforce development and health equity. I am beyond thankful for the opportunity to be here and look forward to all the learning and connecting that will happen in the next few hours. Through this annual meeting, you'll have the opportunity, the incredible opportunity to learn and connect with each other. That is really so critical to our public health movement for health equity and so missed over the past few years. So reconnect with your public health family and make new friends, deepen relationships. And I'm sure that you'll leave inspired and motivated to continue to be the public health hero that each of you are. And as you participate in today's annual meeting, and especially as you hear from your esteemed panelists on what strategies they found effective and on what resources they need to do their good work, I want to offer a few, actually 3 thoughts as you spend this time and as you continue to advocate for health long after the conclusion of this meeting. First is to play for health. So it's been quite a few years, especially for each of you, our public health heroes, that you're caring for so many, doing your job while also caring for your families, your communities, and hopefully yourselves too. In a time of burnout and continued calls for resilience, I ask you to take a moment each day to play, to take some time for yourself, to reflect, to recharge, to relax, and to find moments of joy. The play could be taking a walk, doing a puzzle, or even knitting. Well, I'm terrible at knitting. This play could be with others or on your own. And with APHA's reliance on following the science, I am happy to note that there is much evidence-based research on the important benefits of play for our physical, mental, emotional health. And you're in Hawaii. perhaps the most beautiful of many spaces and places on our earth. So for me, enjoy the breezes, the water, the sand in your toes, the gorgeous nature that surrounds you. Draw calm and rejuvenation from this. Then secondly, I ask that you please read for health. There is, as you only know too well, too much misinformation, disinformation, censorship. And there are so many efforts now at book banning that I think we need to, as a community, get back to more reading. And to know that reading for health is critical to combating misinformation. And I think we can do this with more reading, more collaborations and partnerships with other organizations and groups like libraries, for example, writing, submitting, and getting your letters to the editor and op-eds and sharing for more information on social media venues so that you can combat this fake news that is really detrimental to our collective health. Plus, I often think of reading as my play for health too. I love listening to audiobooks, especially on Hoopla, which is this free app through my local public library, while I'm taking a walk. So that's one way I can check off my play for health and my read for health. Then the third thing I ask is for you to please vote for health. So you probably already really know this well, but I feel I can't help but emphasize this enough. As you hear from this next panel on how culture matters and how it matters for our public health workforce and our health equity efforts, know that voting is critical. It's crucial. Who we vote for determines what policies are enacted, abolished, expanded, and it's those policies that affect our health. Therefore, it's critical to vote because then you can affect policy and therefore affect the health of our communities. I also make a call to not just vote every 4 years, though that's important, but to vote in all the elections, especially your local elections, because local elections matter significantly in health and in the well-being of our communities. It's with the local elections that determine our zoning, affordable housing, or whether we'll have affordable housing, access to quality and affordable public transportation, access to education, and just so much more. So something else also to mention that I think is often not discussed is that who you vote for in your local elections can very soon affect what happens to you statewide and then nationwide. Votes can determine whether a candidate wins an election to become maybe your local school committee member, your local city councilor, your mayor, or other local elected official. And this then sets them on a path that perhaps in just a few years, they will become your state representative or your state senator, and very soon after will become your congressperson. So they have gone from making policies at your local level to weighing in on often crucial national issues, like on climate change, expansion of Medicaid, student loans, and so many other social determinants of health. So do your elected officials understand how everything is health? How transportation, climate change, reproductive rights, and gun control affect our health? And do they have the deep understanding that you have on how culture matters for health? Will they be an advocate for healthy communities? So now I want to take this third goal of mine a little bit further, to have everyone everywhere voting for health a little further. I want to take it to a saying, I'm asking each of you here to consider running for office, whether it's local office, statewide, or national. We need more public health in our policymaking because it is all health in all policies. Now, I also know that running for office is not for everyone. So if it's not your jam to run for office, that's okay. Please help to get out the vote for other brave candidates working to fight all of these systemic injustices that have led to these poor health outcomes. Help knock on doors for candidates, maybe stand at the polls, pass out literature for candidates, host a fundraiser, host a meet and greet for a candidate, donate to their campaign. So again, through my presidential term, I very much hope that you will join me in playing, reading, and voting for health. Now, speaking not only for HPHA, but for myself, As a public health practitioner and educator, as an Asian American mom to 3 young kids, I thank you. I thank you, the Hawaii Public Health Association, for your efforts to create a healthier future for everyone. HPHA recently awarded you the Affiliate of the Year Award for your significant contributions through innovative programs and activities that impact the public's health. Thank you again, then, now, and always, for what you, the membership and leaders of the Hawaii Public Health Association, do for health. But I've long known of your great work. Since first joining HPHA as a student member, and then having the true honor of serving on HPHA's education board with Gerald Oda, I and many others within HPHA learned of the great and critical work you do in Hawaii from Gerald. And Gerald, thank you for you and all that you've done and continue to do. You're a role model amongst role models, loved and appreciated. You are very much a part of my public health family. And coincidentally, I've often called it my public health ohana. I would not be here without you too. So finally, and again, welcome to your annual meeting. Learn, connect, and really relish in the energy and inspiration that I know will come from this gathering. And of course, play, read, and vote for health. And thank you also for your membership to the Hawaii Public Health Association and the American Public Health Association. Thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for your care, your time, and heart.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Leo Kadia Conlon. I'm one of the board members, and I'm going to be moderating the panel. So at this time, I'm going to introduce the presenters on the panel and have them come up. First is Lisa Kaho'ani, who is the engagement specialist at Papa'ololoka'i. Also, we have Sheree Wakuk, who is the community health coordinator at UH Cancer Center, and Dr. Agnes Malate, who is the director of Healthcare's Opportunity at UH Manoa and the co-chair of FilmCom Cares. So who are we starting with? Dr. Malate. So if you want to come up.
Naimbang nga malumi amin. How are you? Good evening. My name is Agnes Malate, as you can see here. The doctor is very recent, and I'm still getting used to it. And some of the students here, well, it was a year after I got it and the pandemic hit. So I've been transitioning into this new role, and I'm just so grateful for one to be here today. I was invited because of one of my mentees, who's also my mentor, and I'll mention her later. But today, I really want to be able to share about PhilCom Cares and what we have learned, and also my work in the University of Hawaii in the healthcare workforce pathways. And I want to share that PhilCom is actually both Filipino, stands for Filipino Community, as well as a center that's located in Waipahu, and Cares, because our first funding, $30,000 to spend in 3 weeks, was actually CARES Act funding that we got through the legal clinic, and that was the city funding. And what better way to start off than going over the objectives for the presentation, you probably know better than I do about all these different health disparities. You've talked about it. And we'll share a bit about it from the lens of the Filipino community. And you'll learn about some of our activities and our strategies, the role of the unified voice coming together with not just the Filipino community, but others who were deeply affected by COVID. Of course, all of us were, but there were a number of ethnic groups that were even more so. And their health workforce and health equity, and then resources to address some of these systemic barriers. We'll play a video, and this introduces our team members. Their roles and titles might have changed, but their message is still relevant.
One person in particular that I thought about during COVID that really motivated me is my mom, because she is immune compromised and she lives in a nursing home. The home care person told us that we couldn't visit her unless we were vaccinated at that time. So we could only FaceTime her, but she could not have that physical touch with us. So it was something that I thought was really important, not just in terms of the community, but just to bring people together. So Philcom Cares was born from the pandemic. And unfortunately, we don't really have an organization that is centered on Filipino health. Dr. Amy Agmayani, Dr. Agnes Malati, and I came together, and we were just talking story, like how could we help our community? We came together and said, let's do vaccinations, let's do COVID testing, let's do outreach in Ilocano and Tagalog. We brought in over $350,000 in the last 2 years, and we're bringing in 500,000 more. So we're hoping to get more support for Philcom Cares.
You know, 1 in 4 of the people you bump into in the state has Filipino ancestry. So if we exclude this important group, then we're really not helping the rest of the community. And I figured out that although doing stuff personally and with a bunch of friends is useful, you gotta have policies and you've also gotta have resources to get anything done. The fact that Filipinos are getting wiped out more with this pandemic is unfair.
I really see it as our community's work and efforts that put this together, and that is something that can be continued and we can build on. Oftentimes we say, you know, the system or this is not working for us. And that's true, we can advocate for the system, the government, and other organizations, the services that's needed in the Filipino community. In some ways, you know, Philcom Cares demonstrates that, no, we can come together.
At the inception of Philcom Cares, they contacted me already because I'm able to translate, write, and all that. So they told me my role is to get the community be comfortable. And what more comfort can you give when you speak the language that they speak? Importante sa akin ang trabaho na ito kasi talagang pupunta ka sa isipan ng tao, nakakausap mo sila, at naniniwala sila. Kapag nakakausap ko sila ng Tagalog, mas naiintindihan na, nakikita mo sa mata nila kung ano yung sinasabi mo at parang, oh yeah, you know, tapos nakukumbinsi mo sila na kailangan mo talagang gawin to. Para hindi lang para sa iyo, but para sa pamilya, para sa mga anak mo, at para sa mga magulang. In Ilocano, kastamet, narigat no sa anda ka matarusan, na imbag no kasaritam isudat ilengguwahe da. Tapno amuda nga agpada kayo. Like you're similar, you're the same, and there's a comfort zone, and I think we've reached that because that's what we wanted from the beginning.
I feel like Philcom Cares is a grassroots community effort, and when people out in the public see that, I think they're more inclined to, you know, get involved with us. The eligibility group was the same, the ages 75 plus. So all the nanas and the tatas would be calling me, and I'll be answering the phone in Ilocano. So the highlight of my work was talking story with them, and they actually were so comfortable and grateful that there was someone who could speak their language to help them get their vaccinations and get more information about COVID-19 and the vaccinations. So just that alone keeps me going with Philcom Cares. And when they talk story, they talk about where they came from in the Philippines and ask me where I came from. They talk about family. I think what they're trying to do is establish connections and relationships with us.
It does take a lot of people power as well as coordination to really put on any vaccination or testing events. So I've been helping with the program coordination side of one of our grant projects, and that's giving out smaller grants to other individuals and organizations who are wanting to do similar works. One of the projects we've been able to help a community member on Molokai, in their free time, they're supporting the community, doing their own sort of Facebook webinars and other outreach. There are other groups who kind of within their own communities and churches to support them as well.
As a social media and events coordinator, I feel like I'm doing the fun part of the project, to be honest. A lot of people think it's just posting and creating graphics, but a lot of times it's also creating the community virtually, and you want to create that atmosphere that just as we do it physically, that we are here to help you.
I think I'm just grateful to everybody who's been part of this project. We have surprised ourselves in some ways, and that's really wonderful to see that people are passionate about it and they're excited about it. But I think in terms of as we go forward, we continue to learn, we continue to share our ideas, and we continue to, see what we could do together and, strengthen our community and look at the talents that we have and build on those. I always get emotional. And so seeing this, but it all started actually with our, the summer of 2020, when we started hearing that Filipinos are the second highest hit by COVID and highest mortality rate. And that's been consistent. Although per 100,000, we all know that Pacific Islanders are higher. And our efforts actually began with the Filipino Complete Count Committee. We were reaching out to the population and getting our, making sure everybody filled out the census. And then we couldn't when we closed down. And so we navigated and started talking about COVID, but we had to stop the effort of the census in September. And that's when at the PUSO group, Filipinos Underrepresented Scholars Organization, where many of our public health, my public health colleagues, Dr. Meros de Cruz, Michelle Tagorda, who's here too as secretary, we talked about it and said, who's helping the Filipino community? There was a lot of effort for Pacific Islanders, Native Hawaiians, rightly so. But what about the Filipino community? And many of the Filipinos were in the healthcare workforce, frontliners in other areas. And so we got together with the legal clinic. That's who actually was able to provide some funding because they had some reserves. And then we reached out to Filipino Community Center. Why the Filipino Community Center? Why it has a physical space. And many of the volunteers who became part of this project saw it as a way to give back to the community. And it was one of the few times, well, I shouldn't say one of the few times, but to put together the community center required the Filipino community, which is very diverse. We have like probably over 200 organizations to come together. So we wanted to do something to uplift our Filipino community as well as others. I'm probably going to have to zip through this because I think I have 7 minutes left. So our mission, we did this kind of backwards. Then we met like 1.5 years after we started doing our outreach to grow a stronger and healthier Filipino community in Hawaii through collaborative partnerships. So in some ways, through our experience, we realize it's not just about COVID, but it's about our environment, all the social determinants of health, and our vision is to have a unified and engaged community grounded in Filipino values. And these are the three values that we identified that are very important: bayanihan, working together in collaboration for a common good; lakas, the power of strength in togetherness; and a shared sense of humanity, kapwa. That's kind of like it more captures the collective culture of the Filipinos. So in terms of health disparities, you're probably familiar with the definitions of health disparity and health equity, and looking at, the biological, environmental health behaviors, sociocultural factors, all of these contributing to the complex multi-level pathways. And then equity is the state in which everyone has a fair and just opportunity to attain their highest level of health. So for Filipinos, we're working towards that. You would think with so many in the health profession that we'd have that down, but we do find that, this COVID really revealed and exposed the gaps in our healthcare system and the needs that we have that we share with many other organizations. So the next, as I mentioned, in terms of rates of Filipinos having cases, high COVID cases, multi-generation household, frontline workers, low economic status, all of these things. And it was very hard at first to find support or find just even getting testing done for the Filipino community. And then when we saw We Are Oceania, Kalihi Palama working with We Are Oceania, we said, we can do this too. So I reached out to Kalihi Palama Health Center, and that's how things happen. You see someone doing it, and then you think that you can do it as well. And there are people there who will then be able to help you. That was one of the important things, valuable things out of this pandemic. So I'm going to see. So with 16% of the population, of course, Amy Bayani said we're 1 out of 4. So it just depends on how you count it, right? Because Filipinos intermarry with a lot of other different ethnic groups. But of the population, 16% and 19% COVID cases. And then mortality, 24%. So that's 1 out of 4. And so one of the challenges of access to getting the COVID testing or COVID vaccinations is actually transportation, language. Ilocano is the most requested language in Hawaii for assistance with services. And so our Filipinos have the greatest make up the greatest percentage of immigrants in Hawaii. So we actually have the strong, going the other way, the strong support of, oops, I'm skipping. Hold on. Agnes, go back. Okay. So what I was saying is we were fortunate to have the support of the Catholic Church. Bishop Silva was one of the first ones to be vaccinated because, as you might know, Filipinos are majority Catholics, and the church was a safe place for us to be able to reach them and for them to come and be vaccinated. Because it was very hard to get to Kaka'ako. It's not necessarily on the bus system from Waipahu or Wahiawa and even Kalihi. So it was very important that we go where they were and where they already had a trust in the people who were there. So that was one. And developing materials in the language. So at first we didn't have translated materials. So Dr. Maris Cruz, Clem Montero, we were working like almost till 1 o'clock every night within that 3-week period. And that's not unusual. I know many of you were working just as hard. And then, so we finally got the radio. That was a great thing because, with Filipinos, you got to mix it in with entertainment. The karaoke, the musical, the pageants, all of these things. And then, what you're saying, you got to have that fun in there, right? But we couldn't really gather at that time, So these testing sites and these vaccinations, they were actually social hubs for us. And it was safe. It was excuse. We could rationalize, we can get together. And we created quite a bond and identity amongst those who were volunteering. So these are some of the materials. And we developed a social media. We didn't have a website or Instagram or Facebook. And then we realized most of the people visiting Facebook were actually females between the ages of 50 to 70. So we have some younger members on our team, so we developed the Instagram. And then we're still developing our YouTube. And we got a website where people can go to for resources. And we have a helpline, not a hotline because it's not staffed 24 hours, but we have somebody who answers and they understand the two major languages, Ilocano and Tagalog. And we work with Pear Suite. And they actually, in the beginning, we would go to the people, and then Pear Suite would call them, tell them, hey, you have an appointment. And then they'd follow up afterwards to check how they're doing and remind them of their second appointment. So we also went to supermarkets. We went to the Bishop Museum. There were some community health fairs. And we started to get coverage from the media. And that really helped in letting people know there's a group of Filipinos as well as other community members who are helping. And we even had 93.9 iHeart coming to Filipino Community Center. So, we tried to it was really a difficult time, but we like working with each other and it really brought us together. And so, like Amy Agbayani said, I can have a group of friends of us coming together and, providing these, having these activities, but without the resources, it would not have the same impact. I think I'm going over time, so I want to, I think, skip to, in terms of diverse composition, what we can do. I'm going to combine that with actually, just quick one, we need to look at this in terms of, enrollment in college. So those who are healthcare concentrators in high school, the percentage of them being enrolled at a health major in Manoa is 30%. And let me backtrack, anywhere in the United States, they actually have a higher percentage enrolling in college. So that's a good thing. And then this is top 3 in health majors working in the industry after 5 years. So as you get into, graduate programs, there are less and less. And, there are few spaces in medical school and a pharmacy school. So that makes sense there. What resources are better able to address? They're definitely developing a more diverse students pathway. And so I'm going to concentrate on this as to kind of addressing what those real quickly in terms of, we look at the barriers. So what can we do about breaking down these barriers? We need to look at what we've learned during this pandemic. What are the resources that has been helpful? How have we been able to address it with the community? So the communities actually have this cultural wealth that we can look at. And here we have the aspirational, familial, resistance, navigational, linguistic, and social. So really, I think those are in terms of the framework of how we are looking at the workforce, making sure that we have health equity, looking at what is in the community that's they have in terms of wealth that we're able to bring during the pandemic and utilize in advance. Thank you. We'll take questions later.
She cheated. She used a video. I want to redo someone to do so I can have a video for my presentation. All right, so is this the clicker that I use here? Okay. Good. So aloha mai kako. Ho'ui noa Lisa Leilani Yukiko Imutraha Ka'anoi. I'm trying to remember my Hawaiian. Let's see here. Oh, Noa Laka Mayao, Noho ao ma palolo, and Hana ao ma maoliola ma lama lama ma papa ola lokahi. So my name is Lisa Leilani Yukiko Imutraha Ka'anoi, and I'm from Alaska. And I live in Palolo, and I work at Maoliola Ma Lama Lama, the Healthcare Workforce Development Center at Papa Ola Lokahi, the Native Hawaiian Health Board. So yes, I am Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, and Okinawan. And yes, I'm related to Dr. Momi Ka'anoi. I am famous by association, but I'm also famous in my own mind. So just to explain to you why I'm here presenting on behalf of Papa Ola Lokahi. So I was asked by my supervisor, Dr. Donna Marie Palakiko, if I could present for her because she's in Australia completing her Fulbright, whatever, lame excuse. And then after I found out the reason why she got asked was because our executive director asked her to present. And our executive director couldn't be here today. So lucky for you guys, you get third string. So yeah. Oh, since they're not here, does anybody want the dirt on Donna and Sherry? I'm open. Anybody want to ask a first question since they're not here? All right, just kidding. So how many folks are students here? Just out of curiosity. Yay! Yay for the students. This is where it all starts. And then also, who actually flew in for this meeting? Wow. All right. You guys aren't very nice, are you? Nobody wants to come here. And then welcome everybody that's on Zoom. It's joining us virtually. I am going to go ahead and get started with a recognition. It didn't get added. So I had, at the last minute, I added a slide and I'll just talk about it. So it was a picture of, and some of you might know these folks, Dr. Emmett Aluli, Dr. Clayton Chong, Dane Silva, and Dr. Bill Thomas. I just thought it was very appropriate to show them our aloha for those that have blazed trail before us. They all passed away this year, and 3 of them, I believe, actually passed away within a span of a week. So just really want to honor them for everything that they've done. And so I'm just going to give you a little description of who they are if you don't know them. My 1 or 2 sentences isn't going to give it justice to the amazing work that these Kane, these Native Hawaiian men have done for the Hawaiian community. So first of all, Emmett Aluli, he is mid-career teaching high school in Kailua. Emmett was recruited to the pilot 4-year program at the medical school, not yet named for John A. Burns, at the University of Hawaii, where he was one of just 5 Native Hawaiians in that first graduating class in 1975. He helped to found Napu'uwai, the Native Hawaiian healthcare system that serves the islands of Lanai and Molokai, including Kalaupapa, and served as medical director of Molokai General Hospital. Now, Dr. Clayton Chong, some of you may know him, was neither the first nor last Native Hawaiian oncologist, but for many years, he was the only one. He called himself Dr. Krabby, and he actually really was. So he took that to heart, but he was beloved by his patients for his straightforward, plain-spoken, compassionate care. Clayton was the principal investigator of Imihale Native Hawaiian Cancer Network, which was funded by the National Cancer Institute and administered by Papa Ola Lokahi for 16 years. The third gentleman, Dane Silva, he is a Kumu Lomi Lomi raised in Keaukaha, was a chiropractor and Lomi Lomi practitioner who embraced teaching in his later years. He participated in founding Hui Malama Ola Na'uiwi, the Native Hawaiian healthcare system that serves the island of Hawaii. Bill graduated, and the last one is Dr. Bill Thomas. Bill graduated from Kamehameha Schools, the University of Hawaii, and the John A. Burns School of Medicine. Specializing in internal medicine, he was in the 3rd cohort of recipients of the Native Hawaiian Health Scholarship Program and the first physician to commit to serving on the island of Molokai. So just out to the universe, mahalo, aloha to all these 4 men. Okay, so Mauliolama Lama Lama is actually a new department at Papa'olalokahi. We used to only have the Native Hawaiian Health Scholarship Program, but we expanded to include more other programs. And so these are all listed here under the 4 pillars of engagement, knowledge, leadership, and fellowship. But tonight, I'm only going to talk about the scholarship program and ku'o, otherwise known as Kāko'oulu Oihana, and also Kaliko Nui. So first of all, for those of you that don't know how Papa'olalokahi became established, we were established under the Native Hawaiian Healthcare Act. As a result of the 1985 needs assessment for Native Hawaiian health, which identified significant disparity rates of chronic disease and limited accessibility to health services and shortage of Native Hawaiian health professionals, and then preference for culturally relevant programs and services. So then 1988 comes around, the Native Hawaiian Healthcare Act, findings highlighted led to passing of this act, establishing Papa'olalokahi, the Native Hawaiian Health Board and the Native Hawaiian Health Scholarship Program, our flagship. Professions and those working in organizations focusing on healthcare for Native Hawaiians and their ohana. So the scholarship here, you can quote, there are 9 eligible professions. So if you're in clinical psychology, dentistry, dental hygiene, dietetics, medicine, nursing, ophthalmology, sorry for the typo, it should say physician assistant, not physician's assistant, mahalo, and social work. So then you can apply to these. And what the scholar receives, now we call this the Cadillac of scholarships because you will be funded for the entire time of your program. You get tuition and other reasonable costs covered. You get a monthly stipend so you can focus on work while trying to pay your bills or get food to eat or get gas. You also get assigned a program coordinator for the entire time of your education. So you check in with this person, Auntie Nani, who actually does end up being their auntie and become close by the time they're done with their education. They also have to, the students have to attend a monthly leadership series, a Native Hawaiian leadership series by Dr. Aukahi Austin Seabury, and maintain a regular contact. And then once their education is done and they're graduated, they serve at an approved service site. So this really is a competitive scholarship. And so we're excited about, it'll open on February 1st and close on March 15th. And so just to give you an idea of how we just celebrated our 30th year of the scholarship program. 1991-92 was our inaugural cohort. So far, we have awarded 322 scholarships, which comes out to about 10 per year. And so we have a total of 295 scholars. The reason why that number is different from the scholarships awarded is because some of our scholars get awarded more than once. And that is possible. And then, so kind of the male to female ratio, 24% are men, 76% are female. We have about, these next 2 numbers, I'm not sure if they're updated to this current cohort, but we have about 236 alumni and then 49 active scholars. Now, the second program we just launched this past year, this is not a scholarship program. We refer to it as a financial support program. So this is called Kāko'oulu Oihana, and this is for those that weren't eligible to receive the scholarship. And it's actually also more open to all other allied professions, like you could be an EMT, you could be a masseuse, just anything, and you can apply for this. And there's actually 2 cycles per year. So we try to get those folks in the academic year to be able to get awarded. So the funding can go to any of these, not all of them. So as the student, you have to select what your 1 or 2 top priorities are to be funded. And so then that will give us an idea how much we'll be able to afford for that cycle. So one of the things that we ask for them to give back to us is that they either participate in a podcast, or they submit an article for a health blog, or they participate in one of our webinars. So far for our first cycle, we had 11 awardees, and then the second cycle we had 5. Now this last one I'm going to talk about is Kaliko Nui. So we also realized we needed to reach out to those that were in high school that didn't have the opportunity to have like a college advisor or counselor in high school. So like some of the public schools, right? So this was our pilot. So I think our cohort was actually Kahuku High School. I can't remember the number of them. So they were Native Hawaiian, they were in high school. So the curriculum, they were to participate in like a week-long sort of camp. And so it was included awareness of health career pathways. So we had multiple folks talk about what they do, and with such as a doctor or such as our traditional healer. They actually did site visits to Native Hawaiian organizations, I think to like Waimanalo Health Center. There was also site visits to college, university campus. And there was also currently our program specialist is providing workshops in their home when they're in their homeroom. She goes out to Kahuku High School and teaches them how to do resume or cover letter and stuff like that. And I got to tell you, these kids are so wonderful. They're so humble, and they just soak it all in, right? So it just, that's part of the equity part, right? Is we can't leave those out in rural areas behind, even if they're on Oahu, right? So we're gonna go through some sort of version of it again, I think next year, but instead of us hosting it 100%, we'll probably partner with other folks so we don't duplicate work or compete with others. So basically, those are the, of the many programs that we are doing, those are 3 of them. And I just wanted to share with you about this logo. We actually had 2 staff members in our department. We gave them free reign to develop a logo for Maoli Olama Lama Lama, the Health Care Workforce Development Center. So basically what that means, Maoli Olama Lama Lama, is enlightenment of the people regarding health and well-being. So so the mahina is a duality of po and la. So that's why there's dark and then there's a sliver of white. So po is night and la is day. And we understand together that they symbolize the duality of life and harmony that existed in ancient times. So the la, the sun, or pala, is darkened to emphasize our origins in po, night, while the moon remains lightened as one would see if rising with the daylight, heralding a productive day of fishing and planting. Now the kaimana, which is the top, those diamond shapes coming down, they represent the constellation Malamalama, reinforcing the program's role in guiding our scholars in developing the Kanaka Maoli health workforce, or Native Hawaiian health workforce. So right underneath that, you'll see a V. That is a tree used to build houses for healing the sick, which aligns the type of care we hope our scholars show our communities. And then malolo, which are the flying fish you see there, which fan out from the vai or the water, embody our scholars and our community members they impact, signifying the benefits we receive from an ecosystem that we each have a role in cultivating. The water design on the bottom relates to our understanding of Ola Ikawai, water is life, and acknowledges the connection Kanaka Maoli or Native Hawaiians have to the Aina or land which sustain us. Combined, these elements represent our commitment to nurturing our future health workers and improving the health of our lahui. And that is my presentation. Just want to say mahalo for having me. So this is our team. Nani Espinda, Kaemi Ponohanohano, Kahal Vegas, Dr. Dawn Marie Palakiko, of course myself, and then Kayolu DeFries, who are part of our team. And I just want to say, just for a second, I'm going to take a selfie with all of you in the background, just so I can show them proof that I actually showed up to work today. So ready, guys? I'm going to go this way and then this way. Ready? Okay, Chaka. Right now, this way. 1, 2, 3. Okay, right over here. 1, 2, 3. Yes, I get paid. All right, mahalo.
I want to acknowledge each and everyone that is here today. Again, my name is Shua Wakuk, and I am pursuing my master in public health. And I'm from Koshai, from the island of the Sleeping Lady. That's what we refer that really teeny tiny highlands. Okay, sorry, this is my third presentation of the day. After my exam, I'm a little bit tired, but I'll try my best. As you can see here, the title for my presentation is Navigating the Challenges in My Positionality, Culture, Religion, and COVID. So the objectives for my presentations are here to shed light on culture and religion impacts on a clinical trial study, to highlight approaches to challenges encountered in working with Micronesian women, to voice the resiliency of Micronesian community during COVID-19 pandemic. And last, to highlight the benefits and struggle encountered in my positionality as a woman, a researcher, and a community health member. A little bit about the project. This is a clinical trial study. In 2018, Hawaii Minority Underserved NCI Community Oncology Research Program, for short MUHENCORP, began. In 2019, in 2019, a pilot study called TIMIS was launched to foster the recruitment of underrepresented women to the clinical trial study. NCI provided the University of Hawaii Cancer Center some funding. Therefore, the Office of Community Outreach and Engagement under University of Hawaii Cancer Center developed an effective multi-level recruitment strategy. And this clinical trial study, or TIMIS for short, is tailored for Native Hawaiians and Micronesian women. The key collaborators for this study are the following: Office of Community Outreach and Engagement, National Outreach and Network, Minority Underserved NCI Community Oncology Program, and we are also working with Hawaii Primary Care Clinics. In this project, we are focusing or dealing directly with Queens Women's Health Center. So a little bit about cancer health disparity here in Hawaii. From 2012 to 2016, breast cancer incidence and mortality rate were highest among Native Hawaiian women. Pacific Islanders have the highest percentage of women that have never had a mammogram. And only 26% of Micronesian women aged 40 and older have ever had a mammogram. Cancer mortality is the second leading cause of death in the US affiliated Pacific Islands. We conducted 29 community outreach events on the island of Hawaii, on Oahu, neighboring islands. And as you can see, we did it at churches, public housing, food bank. We went to health fair and also our American State office, among many events that we went and participated in. We were invited to join some movement in the neighboring highlands, like Maui Voice of Micronesia, HPHA Women's Day celebration. And during COVID-19, when COVID hit, we shifted to social media like Facebook and Zoom in order to collect survey, verbal consent, and raise awareness. The roles and responsibilities that we have, or I have in this project, are divided into 3 phases. First phase is out in the community. I do pre-surveys where I just assess how much they know about clinical trial study and breast cancer screening or mammogram in general. And we raise awareness with a 30 or 25 to 30 minute presentation. And then we give the same survey, that's a post survey to assess what they learned from that presentation. We pre-screen them at the site and then recruit them to the clinical trial study of this is a mammogram screening. Second phase, we refer them to the CRA or clinical research associate that we're dealing with under MU HENCORP. And after that, we do conference call where we connect the community and the CRA in order to get, do another pre-screening, final pre-screening for this mammogram project. CRA confirms appointment at the clinic and then get back to us. We reach out to the community in order to inform them their time and days for their appointment. The third phase is only when needed. I feel like this is the critical phase so far because majority of these women, they don't have PCP or they don't have insurance. And so we are connecting them using a conference call, or when they don't know when was the last time they had mammograms, we set up conference call in order to get those information with their providers. I want to focus on the challenges. I really want to highlight culture, relation, and COVID. From my experience growing up, or focusing on cultural aspect of health, from experience growing up and working with the Micronesian community, it is obvious that regular screening is not something that is perceived or is important among this population. Screening in general is not perceived as something important. And this is influenced by the cultural concept of being healthy. What does healthy means? What does healthy mean to these people of Micronesia? Or in other words, what is the cultural aspect of being healthy? Usually pain and body discomfort are some of the driving factors that would encourage these people to go seek medical care. To shift my focus back to why women are not getting there or not showing up for their appointments, which is one of the things that we are facing a lot in this study. I want to zoom into the roles of mother, roles of a mother in her family. In this culture, being a mother comes with a huge sacrifice. A woman or a mother tends to take care of her family first, family members such as kids, spouse, and that press her own needs last. Many of these women in our team's study are living in an extended family household. So just imagine the roles of a mother or a woman in that kind of household. And for the working mother, some of these women had to work blue-collar jobs, which means that they are being supervised by somebody and don't have much say at the workplace. So when it comes to scheduling appointments for these women, even though they promise or they say that they're coming, oftentimes they don't show up. And of course, they have to go to work in order to make ends meet. We know that Hawaii is very expensive. Living here in Hawaii is not easy. Religious aspect. When COVID hit, of course, majority of the Micronesian people perceive this pandemic as a sign that the ending time is nearing. And I think it's important to also mention that majority of these people are Christians, their Christianity. I'm speaking specifically about my Christian community in this matter. In 1852, missionaries arrived in Micronesia, on my island, in the vertices of Micronesia, and converted a vast majority of the population to Christianity. Bible became the center of attention. And whenever something happened in lives, people refer to the Bible to get the answer from that. So when this COVID hit again, it aggregated fear, resulted in fragmented religious beliefs. Questions like, do I have to get baptized? What is the religion? What is the true religion and what is the true religion emerged because many of these people to convert their beliefs from one church to another. The question is like, if the world is coming to its end tomorrow, will I be saved? Those are what matters at this time during this pandemic to these people. And hospitals and clinics were perceived as the places where this virus is spreading. So everybody's trying to avoid going to the hospital. Therefore, in our program, we see that majority of these people decided not to show up. During COVID-19 pandemic, we all know that Pacific Islanders suffer predominantly. I want to shift my focus from my position as a community health educator to what I did with the Department of Health during that time that the COVID was still new. DOH hired a team consisting of Pacific Islanders to do contact tracing. I was contracted by DOH to do contact tracing in 2020 to 2021. I also want to focus on the community engagement. Out in the community, there are champions out there that raise awareness, helping food distribution and supplies distribution and other resources in the community. The approach to cultural challenges. I want to introduce the community health educator model, or HAD. This model really helps us in addressing social and historical determinants of health. So by understanding the issues or the challenges that this population are facing, we were able to assist them. We use cultural approaches to remove barriers to care and provide accountability to the communities. Solution to address religious challenges. It is important to go in the community and respect their decision and values. We have to tell people to understand the situation. I have to learn Bible verses in order to guide the community in their decision-making on whether they want to be part of this clinical trial study or not. Lessons learned from my engagement with the community or during COVID time. It is important to address or recognize the important roles that CHE plays in this study. It is also important to meet the community where they're at. Dr. Chang-Do mentioned this code, and I wanna repeat it here. She said, and I quote, break out of deficit thinking and single story that perpetuate the savior narratives where outsiders entering community to fix the struggle people. That mentality is rooted in history of oppression from colonization and slavery. To separate but equal and redlining. That mentality is sustained by systematic racism and the country's ever-growing economic inequalities. I do believe that we have to change the narratives and apply the colonized lenses. When we're out there in the community, dealing with this community, it's important to reforming privilege, age-centric and deficit, reframing privilege, age-centric and deficit-based word. Use words that are appropriate. Refer to the Micronesian people as, instead of saying Micronesians, say people of Micronesia. Because these words fit into the deficit thinking that perpetuates and divided us instead of uniting us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, I think we're at time and we don't have time for questions, but if we can have the panelists come back up here one more time so we can just give you a warm mahalo. Thank you very much. Thank you again. And then Kamani, I think you're coming up to close us out. Here is our next president of HPHA.
We're at the end. Well, it's good to come last. You are between everyone going home. Thank you so much. I think I had a slide, but oh, here she comes. Perfect, perfect. Well, aloha. Is it changing? Look at it's something's happening. Sensitive. That's good. Here we go. Okay. I am Kamania Gramtud. I'm actually the incoming HPHA president for 2023. I have no idea how that happens. I have just been around a long time. But I do want to say aloha and welcome. And sorry for my tardiness. If I wasn't here earlier, I have a child. I'm a mother. I'm a working mother. She had school. So I'm here as soon as school got out. But we're thrilled that you decided to spend some time with us this evening and to attend our annual meeting in Pauhana. I'm actually an associate professor at UH West Oahu, woohoo, to the west side of the island for once. Those who make the drive from Waianae and Kapolei, we salute you. I actually have been a member of HPHA for as long as I've lived here, and that would be 11 years. So I know a couple of people in the room, and you probably know me as I've been around. So it's good to see you guys. And I'm coming here to kind of close us out. And we're thankful for our event speakers, our sponsors, our individual donors, our board members, volunteers, our program leads, Amanda and Steph. A round of applause. And of course, to our executive director, whom you all know, Holly, for her hard work in putting this together virtually, in person, in the picnic, in the computer. We appreciate you. And thank you to you all for sustaining us, whether it's a hybrid event or it's a virtual event. We really do appreciate your support. The purpose of this event is to come together after a long stint of being behind the screen, to explore the intersection of workforce development, as you've seen today, and health equity, and to really see with our eyes and touch with our hands our colleagues and to chat with them, meet new colleagues, and to have a few poo-poos. On a side note, to all the student attendees, whether you're on with us virtually or here in the room, I was just like you, what I like to believe, not too long ago. I came to Hawaii again 11 years ago as a postdoctoral fellow at Manoa. And I quickly, because I love community and community groups, I quickly joined APHA. As a student, it was free. So why not? And they had good food at their events. And so from there, I moved on for finishing my postdoc, and I'm coming to a full circle moment because I worked here as a researcher at the Cancer Center, and now I'm a tenured professor at UH West Oahu. So I've been an HPHA member for a long time and now have lifetime membership, but I don't want to bore you or harp on too long about the value of being an HPHA member. But I do want to share with you, you never know who you could meet. You never know who you're sitting next to. You never know what opportunities might open up if you just pull your mask down for a second and smile. And so it is my hope that today you've experienced firsthand, even to our virtual attendees, the power of relationships and community, and how these two words can influence your workforce goals. So coming to my slide here, I hope that we've been able to share with you kind of a definition of health. And as I was sitting there, I was thinking, oh, I would change some of those letters already. But health as in helping to engage and align leaders through health. And I hope you've been able to see some of those leaders in the flesh present today, maybe meet a few where you are. This is going to be aligned with how I kind of help our organization move forward in a few priorities that we've thought about, that I've kind of considered throughout my time being in HPHA. And that is to have a public or community health workforce infrastructure. And we've already started to do that. We actually have, if you've not received one of our emails, we have our HPHA Student Fellowship. And so that's a great opportunity that we're attempting to build that infrastructure in public health. We also want to, of course, as demonstrated by our wonderful speakers, share more ideas about improving access to care, what that actually looks like. I'll share that I too was a part of the contact tracing efforts, albeit a ship that was being built as it was sailing. We got the opportunity to train individuals who had maybe lost their jobs or who had been displaced during the pandemic with some form of employment or just some education. And so through that experience, it was also really easy to see how there are other ways that we can go about addressing health disparities, not only for those of us who are sitting in this room, but the people who cannot be in this room, the people who do not feel represented, and those ideas that they may even have. And then finally, just because there's been a burning passion for my heart, is developing the next generation of public health leaders here in Hawaii. And I'm not going to mention my age, but I love to think that I'm forever young. And so I'd love to see more individuals stepping up and being a part of HPHA. So please continue to follow us on social media. Look for our upcoming events, such as our National Public Health Week and our next annual meeting next year. And I don't want to forget, don't worry about not seeing all of the information on the slides today. They will be available later on, okay? So thank you again for coming and celebrating with us today. Mahalo. That concludes our event. Thanks for coming out.